Hey, what is up guys? Matt here from the Toasty Bros, and I'm back with one of the coolest reviews I've actually had the opportunity of doing. Today we're going to be taking a look at the new peripheral lineup from Fnatic. Yes, the same esports team that you all know is producing peripherals for people out there to purchase to up their esport level of gaming. Is it worth considering? Well, let's talk about that. Now, Fnatic sent me a massive care package full of swag, which actually included a custom Toasty Bros Fnatic jersey. Big props to you all for that. That's actually going to be hanging up on my wall and the future office, which may come in the future, who knows. But when they did send all this stuff, they did send 2 keyboards and 2 mice and a mouse pad. So that's a lot of peripherals to review, but it should be pretty simple to go through. What I'm going to be doing is putting together a desk setup on my desk using a keyboard and mouse from that box along with the mouse pad, and kind of give you my ideas of how this works as an overall package, and also include some key points for each individual product. So let's jump in real quick with the keyboard. Now, the name of the keyboard lineup is called Streak, which I chose the Streak Mini, which is the 10 keyless version of the Streak keyboard, and threw it on my desk. I've been using a 10 keyless keyboard for the past couple of months, and I really love the desk real estate that you get by removing the numpad that I honestly don't use. The only difference between the Streak Mini and Streak Full Size is a metal volume knob that's located on the numpad of the Streak Full Size keyboard. But other than that, you're pretty much getting the exact same keyboard as the Streak Full Size with the Streak Mini. Now, the build quality of this keyboard is where it stands out. It is one of the best built keyboards I have ever felt. It is so rigid, so strong. The body is full aluminum and is really well put together. I love the keycaps on it. The keycaps are your typical ABS plastic, which do shine through the RGB lighting, which more on that later. And they do have a really good feel to them. They're not super cheaply made like other gaming keyboards that I have tested in-house, and they do have a really good typing feel. This keyboard is more than just a gaming keyboard. If you do opt for one of these switches, which are also all Cherry MX switches, you can get reds, blues, browns, and so on, I would really say that this keyboard could do much more than just be a gaming keyboard. It can be used for productivity as well. The variant that I have comes with Cherry MX Blue switches, which they sound like Cherry MX Blue switches, your typical key switch that most of you are familiar with or have heard before. The Cherry MX switch is an older switch type, and there's a lot of hype around these new switches coming out from the types like Bloody Gaming with these new hyperspeed switches or laser switches, which are designed better for gaming. This is something I would love to see Fnatic approach and try to discuss in future revisions of their keyboards if they are trying to produce something that's mainstream for gaming. And it's something that I noticed from professional gamers that these laser switches are the new trend in terms of PC gaming, and I would love to see if this comes in a new future revision. Now, the cable is detachable with USB Type-C. Yeah, you're hearing me right. This thing has USB Type-C as the cable. Wow, honestly, one of the best things I've seen on a keyboard. Now, one of the things I'm gonna have to get on them for is the routing options, because it only routes out of one side of the keyboard, which is not a big deal because they did use the left side, which is most common, but I do really recommend that they have different channels for routing the cable out of the back of the keyboard, because that is the most efficient way for people to cable manage their setups. It does come with an included wrist rest that attaches very snugly to the bottom of the keyboard and does add a little bit of support to your wrist. It's not the best wrist rest out there. I always recommend you get a dedicated wrist rest away from the keyboard that you buy, but it is one that actually suffices for my need. If you have really large hands, it may not be the best for you because it is a little bit on the short end. Now for that RGB lighting. Oh my, the implementation of the RGB lighting is one of the best that I've seen. Now, if you want to use the software included, you can, but you know how I feel about software. You don't really need software unless you're doing like customizations of macros and DPI and things like that. Keyboard companies that force you to use their software to customize the RGB lighting are honestly some of the evilest people out there. But Fnatic actually gives you options to customize your keyboard any way you really want by using the keyboard itself to change the RGB lighting. All you gotta do is hit function, then F5, and then it inserts the color changing mode, where you can just use the arrow keys to change between different modes, and the up and down arrows to change between different variations of that mode. It's genius. It's one of the best implementations I have seen on a gaming mechanical keyboard. But how does it feel to type on? Well, it's on par with pretty much any Cherry MX Blue mechanical keyboard. There's nothing that makes it stand out as being obnoxiously gamery or out of the way to where it's something that I wouldn't recommend someone just purchase for a really good solid keyboard. Now, yes, you are buying into the Fnatic brand with this keyboard, but it's still a really good, sexy keyboard, and unless you hate Fnatic for some reason, I still think this is a good option. Now let's dive into those mice real quick, because they are really, really good. I prefer the Flick over the Clutch, and here's a couple reasons why. The Flick is a mouse that's designed to be very symmetrical. It's not one of those mice that has a raised edge to allow your hand to more comfortably conform to the mouse, which is what the Clutch is made for. The Flick is a mouse that kind of resembles something like a Razer Death Adder, if you're familiar with that body of a mouse. Oh, and yes, this mouse is one of the most comfortable mice I've ever felt. I have not tested mice very extensively like I have mechanical keyboards, so I don't have as much of background reviewing mice, but this mouse right here is really comfortable and honestly replaces me using my MX Master as a secondary mouse when I'm not using my Razer Death Adder, because the Razer Death Adder was kind of uncomfortable to use after a long period of time. So I would use the Razer Death Adder for gaming and then the MX Master for work, but I found myself sticking with the Flick as my main mouse while video editing and gaming at the same time, and I really didn't feel the need to switch to my MX Master. No mouse has ever done that. The mouse does come with two buttons on the left side of the mouse, which are really nice and tactile and good to bind different things in, like Fortnite or CSGO if you want to do certain commands like open inventory or things like that. That's what I highly recommend you use those buttons for, and they can be reprogrammed within the game you are playing or the software, as I mentioned, that you can download. And yes, these things are rocking the Pixar 3360 sensor, the best sensor you can get on the market, so you have no reason to deal with bad tracking. Now before I get out of here, I want to definitely make a mention to the mousepad that was included in the bundle as well. The Fnatic Focus 2 is a very thick mousepad that honestly doubles as a wrist rest while you use it, and does give you really good traction with the mouse. This whole combo bundle put together really makes for an awesome setup, especially if you're into gaming and really want to take your gaming to the next level. Now yes, you are buying into a peripheral lineup from an esports company, so if you do have any alliances with another esports team, it may be a hard purchase, but the fact that Fnatic is producing something like this within an esports community and their fans are going to eat this up, they really make some awesome peripherals, and especially if you're just considering something for gaming and don't have any alliances or fanboyism towards another team, I would highly suggest you consider checking out this peripheral lineup, and I will leave links to all the products in the description down below once they go live. Thanks again to Fnatic for providing all the stuff that they sent over. I love the jersey, by the way. We're definitely keeping that up for a while. And that about wraps this video up here, guys. If you like this video, leave a like down below and comment Fnatic in the comment section down below if you made it this far. Again, if you want to purchase the keyboard, mice, mousepad, anything I mentioned in this video, link in the description down below. Let me know down below if you're a fan of any esports team and if you watch any particular game. I'd love to know down below. I personally don't get into esports, but now I'm going to be paying attention to it a little bit more now that they brought this scene to my attention. I'm kind of interested to see what it's all about. Thanks again, guys. Peace out.